Why pressure reveals what leadership really is. Pressure has a way of stripping leadership down to the truth. When things are calm, almost anyone can look like a good leader. Meetings are productive, people are agreeable, results come easier. In those moments, leadership is rarely tested and often misunderstood. Pressure changes that. Pressure removes margin. It compresses time. It raises stakes. It exposes habits you didn't realize you were relying on and beliefs you didn't know you held. Under pressure, leaders don't rise to the level of their intentions, they fall to the level of their defaults. That's why pressure doesn't create leadership problems, it reveals them. I've watched leaders who were confident, competent, and respected suddenly tighten when outcomes were threatened. They didn't become different people under pressure. They became more themselves, more controlling, more directive, more convinced that the only way through was to personally hold everything together. I know this pattern well because I lived it. When pressure rises, control feels responsible. It feels decisive. It feels like leadership. You step in more. You answer faster. You remove uncertainty by replacing it with direction. And for a moment, it works. Things move, problems get solved, the noise quiets down. That's the trap. Control works best when the cost hasn't shown up yet. As stakes rise, control doesn't scale, it constricts. Thinking narrows. Initiatives fade. Ownership quietly disappears. Not because people don't care, but because control teaches them to wait instead of lead. Under pressure, control doesn't create strength, it creates dependence. Most leaders don't recognize this in real time. They assume the problem is effort, clarity, or accountability, so they push harder. They tighten more. And without realizing it, they trade long term performance for short term compliance. This book exists because that trade always comes due. In my first book, You Are Doing It Wrong, Stop Managing and Start Leading, I challenged the assumption that management and leadership are the same thing. I wrote it because I saw capable managers struggling, not from a lack of intelligence or work ethic, but from being asked to lead people with tools designed to manage tasks. What that book didn't do was show the full cost of getting leadership wrong under pressure or the results of getting it right. This book does. Built for Pressure is about what actually works when leadership stops being theoretical and starts being tested. It's about what holds when outcomes matter, time is short, and mistakes are expensive. It's about why people first leadership isn't soft, idealistic, or naive, and why it consistently outperforms control when it matters most. People first leadership is often misunderstood because it's judged in calm environments instead of pressured ones. Critics assume it lacks edge, that it prioritizes feelings over results, that it can't survive urgency, accountability, or high expectations. The opposite is true. People first leadership is not in the absence of standards, it's in the presence of ownership. It doesn't remove accountability, it makes accountability sustainable. It doesn't avoid hard decisions, it builds the trust required to carry them through. Under pressure, people don't need more control, they need clarity, confidence, and leaders they trust. They need environments where thinking is encouraged, mistakes are addressed without fear, and responsibility is shared instead of hoarded at the top. That kind of leadership doesn't happen accidentally. It has to be built intentionally, consistently, and often uncomfortably. This book is not about becoming a different kind of person. It's about becoming a different kind of leader. One who understands that pressure will come. One who prepares for it instead of reacting to it. One who builds people strong enough to carry the work forward without tightening the reins every time things get hard. Pressure will expose your leadership. The question is whether you're built for it. That's what this book is here to answer. That concludes this episode of Built for Pressure. Built for Pressure is a copyrighted work by Richard Levene. All rights reserved. This content may not be reproduced, distributed, or repurposed without permission. If this episode resonated, you can find the full framework at richardlevine.com.